Computer. Okay. Everyone tell me once you've set your working directory. Oh, sorry. Okay, so for the video, it's gonna be you go up here. Oh, can you see the top of my screen or no? Like when
Uh,
can you see my
yeah.
mouth right now?
We can't see your like selections.
Got it. Okay. One sec. Okay. How about now?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay, great. So you're gonna go up here to this top bar that says R Studio, click on Session, Set Working Directory, choose Directory, and then I would choose the folder that I wanted. Press Open. Then you see it pops up in your output panel, and you can copy that and just paste it so you save it forever.
Okay, got it.
Got it? Okay, perfect. Hallie got it? Jess, are you good?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. So the next thing I usually do is I'm gonna load a few packages. So a package, think of how to best explain this. So theoretically, at some point in your career in undergrad, you learned how to do an ANOVA by hand. Like, you know, it can be done with hand math, right? So, like, there's a way in which you could calculate the variance in a group and within a group, and there are all these steps you have to do. And then you learn how to use SPSS, and it basically takes all that math and it turns it into a button. And when you press that button, you say, do an ANOVA. And so a package in R is basically like somebody took a bunch of math and they condensed it down into a function. And so they said, if you use this command, it will do all that math. So it's basically like a button, except in R, it's called a function. Um, a function is like a set of commands that you save under a name. So for example, like in R, you could say, I think it's mean. I don't remember if it's mean or average. Um, 1 + 1 + 1. Or sorry, wait, maybe it's and it would tell you the mean is 1, um, instead of me having to do that math. So this is a function. So a package is like somebody online said, I'm going to make other researchers' lives really, really helpful or really, really much easier. And so I'm going to write a bunch of functions that other people can use to make doing all that math a lot easier for them. And I'm going to upload it to the internet as a package of functions that they can download and use in their own R. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, tell me and we can talk it through. Okay, cool. So, at the beginning of any session, there are like certain packages that I always download. One is called Tidyverse. So there's a step you have to do called install packages. And when you start in R, there's a difference between installing packages and loading packages. So when you install a package, you only ever have to do it one time. So you can do it once, and then every time you open any R file ever again, you never have to reinstall it. I don't really know why it works that way, but the way you do it is you do install.packages, and then you can go, I think yeah, it's like that. Hold on. I think it's watch out for typos, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll do a bunch of that. So I already have this installed, but it's going to reinstall it anyways. And so see all this movement on the bottom of the screen? That means it's working. Um, and then it'll say this, the downloaded binary packages are in, and it'll give you a bunch of random crap, and ta-da, you have a package downloaded. So everybody install.packages tidyverse. Now you notice there's a very specific way that you have to type this in order for it to work. It's kind of like a recipe. So this part, does anyone have an idea of what this part would be called? We already went over it.
It's the command. Is that?
Exactly. It's the function. Um, and so every time you see this format where it's like a word, like mean, and then there are two parentheses, it means it's calling a function. And then whatever is in the parentheses is what it's applying the function to. So if I said mean 1, 1, 1, I'm saying take the mean of these numbers in this list and then give me the answer. So there's sort of like these two different parts to it. And so when I do install.packages, I'm calling the function install package. And then what's in these parentheses is which package I want to be installed. And specifically, you have to use quotation marks. I don't really fully, I'm not an R expert. I don't fully understand why you have to use quotes in this particular context, but you do. So yeah, so everybody try that. And then the way you run this line of code, if everyone's on a Mac, you highlight the line you want to run and press Command Enter. So before you run it, you just have written the command, but you haven't actually pressed like enter on the calculator. That's all that means. So thumbs up once you've done it. Awesome. Hallie, are you good?
Sorry, I'm just doing it now.
Oh, you're good. Jess, I assume you've done this before.
Yeah, I was just gonna say though, off the record of this recording, whatever, it's okay. Um, this explanation is helpful because you're kind of making it a lot simpler and more straightforward than what I've been told so far. So
Oh, I'm
it's
so glad.
a good review because they kind of like just jumped in a little too much and it was just like, oh, package this, oh, this, that, and I didn't really understand it. I just kind of put what was there.
Yeah.
But
That makes me happy. Yeah, I find that the best people to teach you stuff like this are people that struggled a lot with it at first, because I think there are a lot of assumptions that people make about what you're going to know. Like, I remember walking into my first R class with Wei, and I was in the lab, and the TA was like, yeah, so like if you have a data frame, and I was like, what is a data frame? Like, I've literally never heard that word before. Like, what does that mean? And so I had to stop class and be the idiot that like raised my hand and said, what's a data frame? But like, that's the type of thing I think when you're good enough at this, you forget that people don't know. And so I wish someone explained all this stuff to me when I was first learning.
yeah, I definitely, the experience I had was like in our lab portion. Um, our lab is like way ahead of our lecture. So I've been struggling, but
What are you guys learning right now?
I just finished all the work on, we're up to like importing data,
Hmm.
which was just so much nonsense. Like, I'm not like gonna use all of that, but like, like importing an Excel or importing SPSS file to then use it. But like, there was just so many other types of files that I had to do work about, and I'm like, really, we should just focus on relevant ones, but
Yeah, because you have, I mean, I guess in theory, it's nice to know, but like in this day and age, Carrie's gonna laugh because I literally always tell her to use AI for stuff like this. But like you can easily look up what the command is to upload a different type of data file. That's
right.
not something you have to memorize. I think what you should be learning is like the theory behind why you're doing each of these steps. Like I have never, ever, ever worked in a data file that's not an Excel file because when I have a Qualtrics survey, that's what I download because you can control that. And if you can't figure it out, you shouldn't be doing high level math.
Right.
I think if you can do an ANOVA, you should be able to figure out how to upload a CSV file to R on the, if you have to. I don't know. Maybe that's an assumption I'm making. Anyways, so where are we at? Are we all installed? Okay, great.
I'm having like I'm putting everything in, but it's not actually installing.
Okay, let's do a screen
Think
share. Are
you
you
have
done
to
with
do the
that?
command, how you're saying command enter for Mac. I don't know what the code is for Windows, but it wasn't working for me until you said that part and it started like doing it for me.
Oh, are you on a
So
Mac, Hallie, or
I'm
Windows?
on Windows.
Got it. Okay, so I don't know what the command is for Windows. You might have to Google it. Or an alternative option is you highlight everything that you want to run, and then I think you press, is it? No, then I think you press this button.
I think on a Windows, if I remember from class, it was Control Enter to run.
Control. I'll try Control Enter, and if not, I'll just highlight it.
Thank you, Jess. I think either way you have to. So if you just press Control Enter and you don't have anything highlighted, this is good. You will run everything. Which can be good or can be bad, and we'll get into why that's dangerous later. There are a lot of R mistakes I've made because I forget that I've run part of my code and then I try to run a different part of it and values have not updated. So for example, if I set an object number, this is just I'm creating an object called number and I'm saying number is one. And then I do one plus number plus one. And I say, actually, number is going to be that plus another one, but I don't run this line of code. And then later I run a more recent line of code where I'm like, number plus, well, let me explain this more thoroughly. This is me saying I want to create something called number, and I can type whatever I want. This arrow, little doodad, is saying whatever comes next is what I want you to assign to this object. So like I'm saying the value of this thing that I'm calling number is the number one. If I run this line of code, it'll create an object called number that is assigned to the value of one. So then later, if I just say, I want to see what number is, I could do number. And then over down here, it tells me, oh, the value of number is one. Are we good on that so far? Okay, great. Um, so say then I'm like, well, actually, I want number to be whatever the value of number is plus an additional one. And I forget to run this line of code. Then later I'm like, well, what happens if you add number and number? It gives me two when it actually should have given me, oh wait, hold on. When it actually should have given me five. Because number one plus four would have been five, but I forgot to run this line of code. And so, one thing I do very, very frequently whenever I'm working in R is I clear this, which is my output, and I clear my working environment. Um, and because my computer hates me, it won't show me my working environment. So, give me 1 second. This should be my pane layout. Hello, why are you not showing it to me? Okay, I can't. This is like the stupidest problem I've ever had. Does everyone understand what I'm struggling with? Okay, cool. Give me 2 minutes to figure this out. Da-da-da-da-da. I'm Googling.
The Control Enter was able to make it download, by the way.
Incredible. Okay, yay. Sorry, everyone, give me 1 minute. I'm gonna restart this really quickly. Okay, I fixed it. Where are you? Okay. All right. I have all my panes up. No. Okay, so when you press this little broom thing right here in your console, it clears everything. So like say I do that, I can get rid of it, but it does not erase it from my working environment. So for example, if I say number is 1, over here you see, okay, we have values. This word number is equal to the value of 1. If I clear this from my console, which is sort of like the short-term memory of R, it stays in my environment. So the computer still remembers that number is 1, even though I've gotten rid of this. So this is kind of just like tidying up for your own use. If you want to start over, like say you're like, I've run some lines of code, but the value of number is confusing to me and I want to make sure it's all correct. I'm going to clear this, and then I'm also going to clear this. And then I'm going to highlight everything and just rerun from the beginning.
Right now, I'm missing my whole, I don't know why. I don't see my working environment. Um,
Oh my God, that's a perfect problem because I just had that problem. So
okay.
I know how to fix it. Okay, are you good to share your screen really quickly?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Can you see it?
No, I don't know why. It says Jessica Fagan has started screen sharing, but I don't see your screen. Oh, now I can. Okay. Whoa. You have like a different theme or something.
Yeah, I figured out how to change it.
I love that. Okay, you gotta show me how to do that at some point.
Oh, it's important to me.
Okay. If you scroll to do you see the little 4 box icon on the top bar?
Uh,
Yeah. Okay. Press show all panes. There you go. It's counterintuitive because you would think if that's checked, you would be able to see all the panes, and yet it's the opposite.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm gonna reshare my screen. Also, note to self, this is taking longer than I anticipated. So for future R workshops, I'm gonna allot more than an hour. Um, and that is my fault. Okay. Did everyone understand what I was talking about with the clearing the console versus clearing your working environment?
Could you just re-explain?
Totally. Okay. So we went over these 2 panes. Can anyone explain what this one does?
That's like where you're inputting like I guess like the data to a calculator, and then the bottom one is what kind of gives you the results or like the answer.
Exactly. Exactly. So those are two of the panes. They're the ones that you're going to use most of the time. Then there are these other two that I didn't get to show you before because I couldn't get them to show up on my screen, but now I have them. So your working environment is like every single thing that you do that creates a variable or names a variable, or if you upload a data set, or if you create a new version of a column in that data set, you might be wondering, well, how do I see the data or what's in the data or what I'm even working with? All of that is stored in your working environment. So when I say, I'm going to run these really quickly. When I say I've created an object called number and I want to assign it the value of 1, really quickly, who can tell me how to do that?
Number and then the arrow and 1
And what do I do for the arrow? Which way does it go?
towards the word.
Perfect. So say I assign that. Notice what happens over here. It appears. So it'll say the value of this thing is 1. And so your global environment is like storing important information about what you're working with. So then that's like for you, and it's also for the computer. Because now that I've assigned number as the value of 1, later I can be like, well, I want to do my number. I want that to be 2. Hold on. Just told you what it was. What? Excuse me? Hold on. Oh. That's the kind of thing that's gonna, did everyone see what just happened to me? That's the kind of thing that is gonna make people hate working in R, and you just have to be good at checking why things aren't working. Okay. So that allows it to save these things with values so that later I can be like, well, number plus my number, what does that equal? Excuse me, why is it not found?
The underscore from that.
Thank you. Thank you, Queen. Okay, beautiful. And now it can tell me it's 3. So the purpose of the working environment is to store that information. And this is like the simplest possible example of that. But I'm going to show you later how you're going to import a data set and you can refer to an entire data set as data and assign it to the value of a whole spreadsheet. So it's really cool because then you can apply functions to like values that you have saved here and it will do stuff that would have taken fucking forever in SPSS. Um, so R is a very cool program. The reason people hate it is because of stuff like the little mistakes that like you have all been witnessing throughout this session. And that is something that you just get better at dealing with the more and more you work in R. Like I've been working for R in R for 5 years and I still make little mistakes like that, but you get better at checking for them. Okay, anyways, that's a lot of explanation. Does everyone have the packages installed? Okay, fantastic. Once you've installed the package, and remind me, do you have to do this every time you open an R session? Why?
Isn't it like once it's installed, it's good for like any of the projects you're using? You just have to do like the command to load it, I guess, for like the
Exactly.
project you're currently on.
Exactly. So once we've installed that, you don't have to do it again. So something I like to do if I've done this is I will literally comment it out so that when I rerun the script over and over, it doesn't reinstall the package and take up my time. Um, or you could just delete the whole thing. You've installed it, you don't need it in your code. But I'm going to leave it just so that you all know it's there. The next thing you have to do with any packages you're installing is load them. So even though you've installed them to your computer, you haven't necessarily loaded them. And the way you load a package is you do this. Does anyone want to explain why this is structured that way? Like, what are the different components of this line of code? What is this?
It's the function.
Exactly. And what is it applying the function to?
The package it's trying to install.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
It's applying the
yes.
function. Yeah, you're good. It's applying the function to tidyverse, which we just installed over here. Um, so when I do this, it does all this fancy stuff, and now I have the package. And so one cool thing that you can do is there's this question mark function. If you do this question mark, R is very user friendly. You can type the question mark and then do tidyverse. And look what pops up in this corner is like all this really useful information about like what the package tidyverse does. Um, why they're useful, and then you can where to learn more about them, who created them, useful links to learn about it. It's like all here, which is really awesome. Like I really like that feature. So this window, you'll notice, has like different things that are usually visual that will be helpful throughout your experience. So for example, if you want to create a chart or a data visualization and you want to see it, it's going to pop up over here in this corner. And I'll show you how to do that. Um, so yeah, the function to learn more about the package is this. So everyone should do those things and tell me when you're done.
I typed it in, but it's not popping up like the help, like in the lower right hand corner, like yours did.
Oh, let me take a look.
It's like here, I did the question mark, tidyverse, and then
Oh yeah, there's something missing. So add an open parenthesis. It'll automatically add the close and then just do that.
what's happening? Wait.
You're good. And
And
then
just
run it.
yeah. Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. Okay. Is everyone good on what we've done so far? Okay, amazing. All right, so I will just like really quickly explain what the tidyverse is. Tidyverse is like a package of packages. So it's like extra levels of complication. But within Tidyverse, there are all these really, it's like a collection of packages that like most people will find very useful when they're cleaning and working with data. So for example, there's something within Tidyverse called Dippler. I think it's DYPLR question mark. Maybe it's not spelled. Maybe it's DYP. Dippler. Okay, Dippler is what you're going to use to manipulate a lot of your data. There's all sorts of useful packages within Tidyverse. So as a general rule, every time I load R, I always, always, always load the Tidyverse because it just like covers my bases for general packages I'm going to need. Then, depending on like what I'm going to be doing in R, I will sometimes need to add special packages to like help me do specific data cleaning tasks. But like pretty much always, I'm loading Tidyverse. The other thing I always load is a package called Read Excel. Sorry. And I think it's spelled like that, but I'm not 100% sure. Yes. Read Excel allows you to install and upload and manipulate Excel files. Um, for some reason, that requires a package. I don't know why. So once you've done that, you will load it in your library. And then if you feel like learning about it, You can learn about it. And the reason I do this is because most often, you don't have to do this, but when I download data from Qualtrics, I'm downloading it as an Excel file as opposed to a CSV or an SPSS file. But sometimes you'll be sent data in some of those other formats, and a quick Google search will tell you how to upload that into R. Um, that's why I was shocked that Jess's stats class is spending a lot of time on that because I do not think that that's important to spend time on. Most often, you're going to have an Excel file. Did everyone do all of this stuff? Okay, fantastic. All right, now we get to the fun part. So now what we're going to do is upload a data file. And I feel like the most useful thing for me to do would be to start from where you're going to usually start from in a typical research project, which is in Qualtrics. Um, so I pulled out the original My First Doc in Court Identification Study. And we're going to practice downloading the data from that, which will be extremely similar to the format of the data you're going to have. So just as a review, when you're in Qualtrics, you can see your recent surveys here, or you can go to projects, um, and then find whatever survey you're looking for. So I did this, and then I found this, where we have 839 responses, and I want to download this. So I have to go to the Data and Analysis tab.
I don't think we can see your screen for this part.
I'm such an idiot. Thank you for telling me that.
No, you're good.
It took y'all so long to tell me that. Thank you.
Well, no,
Once,
I was watching and like I couldn't tell if I was the like I couldn't tell what was going on or if it was like just me or like
nope, my bad. Okay, can you see my screen now? How long have you not been able to see my screen?
well, we could see the R, but we couldn't see what you were like doing outside
Oh,
of that.
Yeah, I think you just shared that window, not your entire screen.
got it. Okay, cool. All right, phew. Um, okay, perfect. So, can you see this?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so just as a review, and so that you have a video record of this, when you go into Qualtrics, your most recently viewed surveys are over here on this panel. Then, if you want to look at some other projects, you can go here, go to projects, and then you can click on In-Court ID, which is the one we're doing. Then there are all these tabs. Go to Data and Analysis, and that's where all your data is going to populate. Most of you have done this before, I think, but potentially not. Then I go to export and import, export data, and you have all these options for what format you want to export it in. Now, if I'm just like checking on my data, I often like to just open it in Google Drive because I find that to be more user friendly. But if I'm trying to import it into um, R, I will download the file like this as an Excel file. Doop a doop a doop. Fantastic. And then, can anyone guess what my next step would be? What do I do with that file?
Do you link it where you did in the beginning, like we had to open the
Working directory. Exactly. Yeah. So, like I said, everything that I need or want to use with this project is going to go into that folder. So, I have this R introduction folder. Here you can see my beautifully named untitled.r file. And then I'm just going to drag this from my downloads into here, and then I'm going to rename it something that is easy for me to use. So I like to do something like this. But for this project, actually, I'll do sample data. And it's informative, and then you know for the future. Um, I just realized you don't have this, so I'm going to send it to you. And you all have to promise that you're going to delete it off your computers later. Okay, fantastic. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear my dad. He seems to be in a meeting. Um, so tell me. Okay, cool. He has a habit of like, I'm like at my parents' house right now, and my dad will take a meeting and will like walk all around the house with the computer in his hand. So, like, wherever you are in the house, at some point, your meeting will be interrupted by his voice. It's so funny. Um, okay, anyways, now we're gonna load the data. So, oh wait, I think I sent you the data file. Do you all have it? And have you uploaded it to your working directories? Good?
Oh, once you download it, like not in our studio, but in the file itself, do you put it in the like I would mine art intro. You put it in like that file. Um
So put it in, I just put it in my folder that I had made. So it's like
okay.
same area that my R script is in. Okay, ready? Perfect. Okay, so once you've done that, you're gonna load the data. The first thing you do when you're loading data, is you'll notice in R, like I'm always creating objects in R that are named things because it's so much easier, for example, for me to just say data than it is for me to say, go to the working directory and look for the sample data dot xlxs file in quotation marks, because that's what you would have to do in order to reference it otherwise. And so the first step when I'm loading the data is I name it data as an object and I save into that object um, to read Excel. Also, when you start typing a function, you'll notice very user-friendly E. All of the example potential options for what you might be trying to do pop up. So if I can't remember how something is written, I usually just wait for it to pop up and then do that. And then what you have to do is type the literal name of the file. So this will be sample data.xlsx. And when I run this, hold on, I'm going to rerun everything first. Watch what happens in my working environment. Did everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So like I said, you can save an entire data set to and just call it data. And then later, if I'm like, I want to take a look at my data, I could do this. And it pops up in a new window, and I can literally look at it. It's really cool. So if I want to see what variables are in the data without pulling up the data file every time, which is a mistake I often see new R users make, is that every single time they want to learn something about their data file, they're like pulling up and viewing their data to like look at it. And I think that's super inefficient and it's not the way that I would do it. So you'll notice that there's this little toggle button. So this is what you've named it, data, and then it tells you information about your data set. So there are 840 observations of 910 variables, which first of all, that's like a lot of variables. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't know why there are that many. I don't remember there being that many, but we'll find out why. Um, and then observations is basically rows. So we have like rows in our data set. And then we have variables, which are the columns. And in every field where you're dealing with data, those are going to be called different things. So, like a column is going to be in Qualtrics a variable or a question. So, if I say I want participants to rate on a Likert scale, how voluntary, like to use Jess's example, it seemed like a plea was on 1 to 7. A variable would be voluntariness, and then the rows would be the numeric value that each participant reported. Is that making sense? If it's not, let me know. Okay, cool. I assume most of you are familiar generally with that concept, but like you never know. So if I press this toggle button, it's going to show me a ton of really important information. So along this side, I see what every single variable is called. So like oh, I see why I have so many variables. I collected timing data. We'll talk about that. Um, so start date, end date, status, these are all variables that the computer collected and then it's part of my data set. And there are so many of them that it truncated the list. But what's nice is if you just want like a quick glimpse of what your data file is structured like, you can see it tells you what type of data it is. So character is like, string values. And you'll notice something interesting, which is that when you first load the data in, everything is character. And that's an accident. That should not be, but it's always going to turn out that way when you load your data up this way, for reasons we will talk about whenever we do the next session, because it's almost 3:30. Um, but it'll also give you how many people have this variable. So 1 through 840. So it looks like there are 840 observations, and all of them are filled out. And then it'll give you sort of a brief preview of like what the first few rows of data look like. So, um, hold on. If I view the data, you can see the first row, the values are start date, end date, response type, IP address, etc. And then starting from there, it's like your actual participant values. So you have numbers here. And so when it gives you these lists, it's giving you the preview of the first few rows. Is this making sense so far? Okay, cool. Jess, is this still review for you?
I didn't even know that, like, I did not learn yet that you do the toggle thingy and see all like the TA taught us like to use the dollar sign to refer to like certain things, but
Mhm.
he didn't show us like that. Yeah. So I'm so
Useful.
yeah, there's more information I'm getting. So that's good.
Amazing. Okay, good. I'm sorry you didn't learn that, but I'm glad you're learning it now. Um, okay. So I feel like this might be, I'm trying to think of, I'll do one last step before we cut off, and then I'll try and record a longer video, or what's your preference? Like, should I just record a video of myself explaining this and then you guys can try and replicate it on your own time? Or would you prefer to do another session where it's like live and you can ask questions?
I like being able to ask questions, but I know trying to get all of us at the same time might be a little hard. So
So yeah, the questions is nice, but it depends like if you make the video like super like easy. Like I don't know how to explain like what word to use for that. Because like if like it's very like explained, that could work, and maybe we just like ask questions when we see next or like go through it. Just whichever would work for me, honestly.
Awesome. Jess, do you have a preference?
I think for time's sake, I was thinking, yeah, like interactive is better sometimes, but I think like, if you make a video like that, it's easier kind of um to go through on your own speed. So like maybe it would be better if you did videos and then like if we have specific questions, we reach out to you.
Okay. I'm down for that. I will try to over explain everything. Um, And then if like maybe what I can do is set it up in smaller chunks and then we can go through the questions week by week as things come up. The only issue I have is like it's a matter of like when I have time to record the video. So let's say if I don't record another video by the end of the week, we try and set up a live meeting because I'm trying to hold myself accountable, but I know like without the accountability of a live meeting, it's dubious whether or not I'll take the time to record a video. So I want to make sure that gets done for you all so we can keep moving forward in our respective projects. But was this helpful so far? Like, is this useful?
yeah, I thought it was pretty clear. It's still a new program, so it's like you know, a little bit feel like what am I looking at? But I was able to follow all the steps that you did so far. So
Okay.
Yeah. No, it seems confusing, but you're explaining it like well, I think.
Okay, great. All right. I will send the recording of this meeting. Let's stop here and then we'll pick up next week with some initial data cleaning steps and then we'll do some data analysis steps. Um, and maybe what we can do is instead of, I had blocked off on your timelines, like, oh, let's spend a whole meeting talking about data analysis, but maybe instead I'll record the videos on my own time and then in our respective meetings, you can like ask any questions you had that came up at the beginning of the meeting, and then we'll just move on to the next part of the project. Does that sound good? Okay, perfect. All right. Thanks for meeting on an off day, guys. I really appreciate it.
No, of course. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. All right, bye. Have a good
Bye.
day.